Hey, 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 hey. I think we are live. Imagine that. Good afternoon, my main man, Minister Mike Sewell. How are you
Good
today?
afternoon. I am doing well. I'm having some technical difficulties over here. It's coming in a little low on my end.
Gotcha. I think I need to do a little adjusting. Maybe I need to figure that out because I was a little bit low
There we go. That's better.
also. And let me make sure that we are live and I believe I believe that we are. Let me run a little test. And I think we've got maybe a little bit of a delay,
Okay.
it looks like. I'm not sure how that's the case or why that's the case, but I think we got a little bit of a time delay. Anyways, what's happening, good sir?
There's nothing much on my end. Nothing much. So you might appreciate this. I got my bike repaired,
Uh
and
oh.
got this week. Had to replace the pedals, but went on my first bike ride of the season.
No way. No way. What kind of bike you got?
And it's older. It's a Diamondback Morona. I'm not sure
Okay.
if those are still made anymore, but
Okay.
yeah, I've been rolling with that since.
Is it a mountain bike or is it a road bike
Oh yes,
or
it's a mountain bike.
oh, okay, okay. Nice.
Yes,
Nice. So you went out for your first ride, huh?
I did. Yes, over here on the south side.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah.
How long how far did you go?
I made about 7 miles.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Awesome.
I did it one day after at the end of the workday.
Awesome. Man, that is totally incredible. Totally incredible. Believe it or not, I have not been out. I didn't go out at all last week. I need to get
Okay.
out maybe tomorrow or Tuesday. I
Okay.
think I'll I think I'll get out on the bike. Um that is exciting. So how was your experience?
It was good. It was good. Yeah, the repairs made to the bike made it run really smooth.
Okay.
I got myself some biking shorts with the pads and everything. So, I mean, it was a smooth ride.
Nice. Nice. So trails and not the street?
No, I was actually on the street. I was on Harrison Road Harrison up to about 108th, and then went over to Giles. So I was on some pretty major streets. I'm hoping to find a good path for my next
Gotcha.
time out.
Gotcha. Not too far from where you guys are. I've been on it a couple times. The West Papio.
Okay,
Yeah, that's a nice trail.
okay, all right. I have to check that one out.
Yeah, the West Papio Trail. I think it starts on Q Street at I don't know what the cross street is, 130th or something. Who knows?
Gotcha.
There's like I think there's like a QT gas station on the corner.
Okay,
Um, it is east. It's east of 135th.
east of 135th. Okay,
Yeah, yeah,
okay,
west of 120th. There's like a big gas station on the corner, somewhere
gotcha.
around 130th, and you see the little trailhead, and that West Papio Trail will take you all the way down into Bellevue.
Okay, all right. Yeah,
Yep.
that will do it. That will do it. If yeah, that will. If I can make it down to Bellevue, I'm doing good.
Oh man, man, listen, steady as she goes. It is just good just to be on out on the bike. So like my whole deal now. This is like my third season riding
Okay.
in a long time. and I've just decided this year it is all about the fun.
Yeah,
Um, yeah, yes, it's part of my wellness plan. It's part of my stress reduction and all that kind of stuff. But at the end of the day, my ultimate goal is to get out there and have fun. So like I was concerned about things like um how fast and that kind of stuff.
sure.
But and I still am to a certain degree, but at the end of the day, man, I just really want to enjoy my ride.
Yeah,
Um and I always enjoy my ride. Um unless it's really windy.
gotcha, gotcha. Yes, yes, that can make it difficult.
Yeah, when it's really windy, I just be wanting to finish the ride, especially when um I go out. Seems like 75% of the time I go out with the wind.
Gotcha.
And it's like, man, this is awesome. I'm going out, the wind is behind me, and I'm not a fast cycler yet. Um Eventually I'll get to be a fast cycler, but I'm not a fast cycler. So if I'm going 13, 14, 15 miles an hour, like I'm doing something, I'm
Yeah,
I feel like with the wind at my back going out,
yeah, yeah.
like I'm flying. But then at some point I have to turn around and I have to come back. So when I come back,
Right.
I'm going into the wind.
Yep.
And oh my goodness, many a times I've come back into the wind and like I feel like I could almost walk as fast as I
Yeah, yeah. I hear you. Yeah, that wind going against you.
Yeah, yeah. So the only times I don't always enjoy the bike ride is if it's really windy. But if it's like over 15 miles an hour, I'm probably not going out.
Gotcha, gotcha.
Yeah, more than likely, I won't. So man, I'm excited for you. Did you go out individual or was it a group?
No, it was just me. Yeah, it
Oh,
was.
okay.
Yeah, after I got off work one day, I just went out, and
Yeah,
went as far as the bike could take me.
there you go. There you go. I feel um like I'm doing my share to pass along the joys of cycling to other people.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You're doing it well. You're sharing the message well.
Yeah, man. Anything else new going on with you other than the bike ride?
Oh, I was going to say, well, there's a couple of things. I guess first I'll mention that the kids had their first day of playing soccer, so they're a little.
Yes, I was
Uh,
going to ask you about that. Tell me about soccer. So were they
yeah,
just was it organized or were they just out having fun with a soccer ball in a net?
no, it's actually an organized camp. So
Oh
this
wow.
organization called Sprouting Sports, they do a little thing to get toddlers and young kids introduced to different sports. They got like soccer, t-ball. I think there's flag football, so a whole bunch of different things. So there was yeah, just about 10 toddlers in their group trying to play soccer.
Wow.
So there was and by playing soccer, I meant that there were soccer balls present on the field. There
Right,
wasn't a whole
right,
lot
right,
of doing soccer things. So
right,
it was a lot of fun, a lot of fun. We still got to get used to the whole no hands thing, but
right, right. Kick the ball, kick it into
right,
the net.
right.
Yeah,
Yeah, they want to pick it up and throw it in the net.
yeah, yeah. Man, if I could do it all over again as early as possible, I would have had my kids in swimming and soccer.
Mm,
If I
mm.
could do it all over again, I would start with swimming and soccer. They are such foundational sports to everything else, in my opinion.
Gotcha, gotcha, gotcha. Yeah, we're
Yeah,
open. Yeah, see, Sister Hawkins says as long as it gets in the net. Yeah, I agree. By any means necessary, as some may say.
right, right, right. They playing that Malcolm X soccer.
Right, right. Malcolm Malcolm X ball.
Yeah, yeah. Any means necessary. Get it into the net.
Right.
So yeah, that's exciting stuff, man. That's exciting stuff. We need to switch cameras here.
Yeah, I'm going to
Because of
because
my
of my difficulties.
difficulties, I hopped on another camera. Oh,
There we go.
all right,
Is that better? Okay, hold on.
all right. Is that better? I'm sorry
Okay, doke. There we go. There we go. So yeah, man, soccer and that's exciting. Yeah, if I could do it all over again, it would have been soccer and swimming. Soccer and
Yeah.
swimming. They can do anything: baseball, football, basketball, whatever else they want to do later. But there is no substitute to hand-eye foot coordination in soccer, and there is no substitute to learning how to swim and hold your
Gotcha.
breath and get coordinated with your arms and legs and yeah, if I could
Gotcha.
do it all over again, that's I would do exactly what you're doing. As soon as possible, put a soccer ball in front of them.
Gotcha. Gotcha. Okay. Well, that's good. Good message passing down. So I got to keep them going and try to get them in swimming.
Yeah, yeah, man, yeah, exciting stuff. So um I had a birthday yesterday,
Yeah. Yeah. Well,
and
happy birthday.
thank you much. I appreciate it. I appreciate it. And that was a good thing, you know. I got some of my favorite cake,
Okay. And
and
what is the favorite cake?
uh, the bakery that's close to downtown is called Pettit's.
Oh yeah. Yep. Yep.
Yep,
Okay.
yep, yep. They have really good white cake and really good marble cake.
Okay.
Yep, yep. So
Nice.
I had marble cake, and as always, it did not disappoint.
Okay.
I know other people like other cakes. I know there are other fancier cakes out there than Pettit's, but I love Pettit's.
Yeah.
Man, it is delicious stuff.
Okay.
Uh, Marble and white cake, and so it was good.
Yeah.
It was good. It was good. I was grateful and got a chance to see my kids on my birthday. That's always good. Got a chance to talk to my parents and one of my sisters, and wonderful stuff. Wonderful stuff. Uh,
Awesome.
s- so, how about we get to our intro and then we can introduce our topic for today?
All right. Let's do it. That's
All
good work right
righty.
there.
What's that?
I said that's a good intro right there.
Man, who you telling? Who you telling? Who you telling? Um, it took me like 2 hours to do that.
Yeah.
It took me 2 hours, man. I kid you not. I am not kidding you. It took me a long time, but it's
Hey,
done now and it is saved, and I'll whip that baby out as often as I can.
there you go. There you go. Right, right.
But
Yeah.
use that logo intro. So the topic for today, for episode 4 of Antioch Teens and Adults, responding to embarrassment. That's the topic of today, responding to embarrassment. Something that If you've been on God's green earth for more than 10 years, you know what embarrassment is. Like your kids, I don't know if they're capable of experiencing embarrassment. Not, I don't think not
It,
quite yet.
it don't seem like it. They don't they don't show it if
Yeah, I don't think they're old enough to
yeah.
actually feel embarrassment quite yet. But that is our topic for today, and I have another story time to share
All
about
right.
embarrassment. So think about embarrassment to our listeners out there. Looks like we got more adults than kids today. Think about embarrassment. Think about embarrassment. And while you're doing that, y'all know what time it is. It is time to let everybody know there's nobody like our God.
Loves me and I love him. He loves me and I love him. Oh, there's nobody like my God. And he loves me. There's nobody like my God. Oh, Jesus is just that kind of friend. He'll stick with you till the end. Pick you up when you were down. He said he'll always be around. There's nobody like my God. Oh, there's nobody like Jesus. There's nobody like Jesus.
Awesome, 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 awesome. We want the world to know that there is nobody like our God.
A
And
to
I'm
the
I'm
man.
still waiting on people to I put the little ticker down there and it says stitch or duet at Antioch Omaha TikTok. And so far we've only got one, and that is Dr. Deirdre McKinley. And we need another one. We need another one. We need another one. I think maybe next time I'll load up Dee Dee's and we can let Dee Dee lead us in on our theme song. How's that sound?
Sounds good. And I know I was double dog dared, so I got to get on it.
You were,
I,
you were.
I am
I
not going to
wasn't
be
gonna bring it up. I had your back, and
thank
I
you,
was
thank you.
not. Yeah.
I just know that on the internets, that things don't disappear. So I had to confess.
Oh.
Oh,
Uh-oh.
sounds like you being double dog there too.
Right, right. Where's my duet? I do mine live. What do I need to do a duet for? I do mine live every broadcast. I do mine live in the chair. Why do I need to duet when you don't have to get a pre-recorded practice one. You get fresh every time. It's like manna from heaven. There's no leftovers. It comes out fresh every morning and every night. This is biblical duet, not that pre-recorded leftover microwave duet.
No editing, no none
No,
of that.
no, no
Live and raw.
editing, no editing, none of that kind of stuff. And look at what my wife says, not the same. I'm gonna get biblical, and manna was fresh every day. So that's what the Bible say. So responding to embarrassment. So since we have a new topic, we need story time. Story time. So here is a real life. So I was thinking about what story I wanted to share for story time. And believe it or not, there is an embarrassing situation that I'm going to open up yet again the vulnerability closet of the pastor and bare my innards with you all today. Um, this took place in high school. So today's story time takes us back to the halls of the great Omaha Northwest High School. And believe it or not, I'm wondering where little Richard is, but I'm glad he's not on because he was coming at me hard last time. He was coming at me hard last time. So I wish he was on, but I'm kind of glad he's not because maybe he doesn't have a chance to come at me so hard. So uh, this was the same. Believe it or not, this is the same friend that I used to. I gave y'all that bonus story. I told you when I was cheating on the test, and my friend and I said we're going to do it, and we used to skip and run the halls. Same friend, a different story. Same friend. So we're at Northwest, and I don't know if this either had to been my junior year or my senior year of high school. I can't remember which. I want to say it was my senior year, but it was one of the two. And so we are hanging out, walking down the hallway during school. And back in the 80s, one of the things, I don't know, people may still do this today, but back in the 80s, people did this all the time. They used to practice their basketball moves when they weren't on the basketball court. Did you ever do that,
Uh,
Minister Sewell?
I didn't do it personally, but yeah, all the way from in the 90s throughout the early 2000s, we had people getting dunked on without a basketball in the hallway.
Yeah, yeah. So, we used to practice our moves
Yeah,
in the hallway and
yeah.
shooting our fadeaways and
Uh-huh.
crossover dribbling and all this kind of stuff. And so one day, me and my friend, I should call his name, but I'm not going to call his name. He's an upstanding member of society, and I'm not going to do him like that. I should. I really should. He might get a kick out of it. And so me and my buddy, we're walking down the hallway of Northwest, and I'm doing my basketball moves, right? Going down the hallway, I'm doing my basketball moves, and I'm doing my pivot, and I'm going up for the dunk, and I fall down
Oh no.
on the ground
Oh no.
in the middle of the hallway doing my basketball moves. And do you know what my friend did when he saw me fall doing my basketball moves in the hallway of Northwest High School? Do you know what he did, Minister Sewell?
Did he call you out? He didn't call you out, did he?
He laughed at me as hard as I've ever heard him laugh my whole life. He laughed. I got up fast. We ran down the hallway, and he is just cracking up at me. Oh my goodness. And so like my brain was like, Hawkins, what did you just do? you you fell doing a basketball move at school in the middle of the hallway. And so in my mind, that was probably 1985, Minister Sewell. It is 2020. That was a long time ago, man. That was over 35 years ago. And to this day, my brain can still remember the fact that I fell at school. Oh my goodness. And my friend there was no compassion to be found whatsoever. There was no love of God. There was no there was none of that. to be found. Only laughter and more laughter. And when we got done, we ran down the hallway, we ran into the gym, and he started laughing again. he started
Oh
he
no,
started
he
laughing
would not
again.
let it go.
Oh my goodness. And Dee Dee says, now the boys are jumping on one another's backs, pretending to slam dunk
Yep.
on one another in the hallway.
Yep.
It's crazy. Well, we didn't jump on one another's backs in the 90s. We just practiced our moves. So I guess now it's evolved,
Yep.
jumping on one another's backs.
And it's not just dunking on them. You got to go, boo! You know, when you gotta let everybody know that.
Man, listen, let me tell you what happened. My heart started racing. My brain started rehearsing that thing. And I felt so, I'm trying not to use the word embarrassed. I felt so stupid, awkward. I felt like there is no way in the world that was supposed to happen. That is not what people did in high school. Nobody fell down in the hallway in high school. If you did that, you better pray that it wasn't too many people around to see you fall in high school. And so my brain was like rehearsing that thing, my feelings. I felt about this small. My heart started racing fast, and probably my hands started sweating, and all of that is my story of embarrassment. When I was in high school,
Yeah.
my closest buddy in high school uh, gave me the business. He didn't say you all right. he just he was brutal. Um, I'm trying to evaluate what was I doing hanging out with him. We were skipping class together. He was laughing at me. Just I'm probably painting a bad picture. He really kind of was a good friend, but not that day. Not that day. So anyways, that's my story time about my embarrassment story. Yeah. Yeah. You got a story? You got a story of embarrassment?
Ah, man. Yes. So generally, so I played, sports through high school and stuff, and there was always a level of embarrassment when you didn't play well, on the court,
Mm.
because it was in front of your friends, and then you got to go the next day and be amongst your friends and hear about how you played. But the one thing in particular, so this is a little bit different scenario when I was in high school. So I used to go stay with my grandparents in the South, for the summer, and I had just started listening to like hardcore hip hop, right?
Okay.
So the cursing and everything.
So this was the
And
90s?
this was the '90s, yeah, late
Oh,
'90s. And
NWA?
no, it wasn't NWA. This was
Okay.
Outkast, actually. Outkast.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. So I was in Louisiana at the time with my grandparents, and I just had to have that Outkast CD. Um, well, I mean, this is too old for the people, for the teens and stuff. But the me and you, your mama and your cousin too. The AT Aliens album. I think it was like either their first or second album. Anyways, I had to get it. And so my grandma went with me to Walmart, and she didn't know anything about hip hop music. She didn't know that it
Uh-oh.
had bad lyrics or anything like that.
Uh-oh.
So she went with me. We purchased it at Walmart, and when I got home, little did I know at Walmart, they didn't sell the unedited versions.
Uh-oh.
They only had the clean version. So I wanted the full thing. Like this was
Right.
not authentic hip hop. This was
Right.
cutting edited.
Right.
So
Right.
I made up the story and told my grandma that there were skips on the CD and or scratches on the CD, and it was making a skip. So my grandma, she loved me and wanted to make sure that I was taken care of. So we went back to Walmart, and
Uh-oh.
we went there and told them that there were skips on the CD, and the cashier, looked like us, another young black lady, a little older than me, but you know how we do when you get caught in a lie, they tend to
Yep.
put all your business out there.
Oh
So
Lord.
the
Oh
cashier
Lord.
in front of the whole store, in front of my grandma's, like, that CD ain't got no skips in it. That's the clean CD. He lying to you. He know
Oh.
he wrong. And man, we must have been there for
Oh.
5 minutes. This lady just telling all my business
Oh
about how
Lord.
I lied to my grandmother, and that I was trying to get out of getting a clean CD. So I had the
Mm.
embarrassment. Thankfully, I wasn't in my hometown, and I was getting embarrassed in front of a group of people in another region.
You know what Little Richard would have said? He would have said, "You should have just told the truth."
Yeah, right.
That's what Little Richard would say.
That's why I'm telling that story without Little Richard on there.
Right.
I don't need to feel the shame again.
Oh my goodness. So how
But
did you
yeah,
feel when they was putting your business out in the street?
I felt like the smallest
Oh my
person in the
goodness.
world. I just wanted to go and run, and she wouldn't let me. She just kept going on about how I knew I was wrong in front of my grandma.
Man. So one more story. The most embarrassing thing that happened in high school. Thank the Lord it didn't happen to me. And I'm calling names this time. I'm calling names. Hopefully he'll forgive me. Victor Russell. He was on the Northwest basketball teams, and back in those days, we were like in the championship game of state. All 3 years I was in high school. We lost it, we won it, we lost it. So we had great basketball teams. Well, Victor got in the game and he had a breakaway and he went for a dunk and he missed it in front of the whole school at a home game at Northwest. Fans on both sides. That was the most embarrassing thing I had ever witnessed in high school. And I'm so glad it did not happen to me.
Oh no, Victor, man, I haven't met you before, man, but I feel for you.
Ooh. Yeah, we need to offer up prayers for Victor Russell, even though it was in 1985. He might still be scarred by that today. Who knew? Who knew? Uh-oh, here it comes. Come on, Minister School. So scratches on a CD.
that was the best I could come up with. I tried. I'm not good at it. I'm not good at telling stories.
Oh my goodness, man. So like now I look back on my story time, my embarrassing moment. Now I can look back and I can laugh with my friend. But wasn't no laughing.
Right.
Like now I can look back. So when you look back on it now, how do you feel now versus then?
Yeah, I can look back at it and laugh, and like Dr. McKinley, like what was I thinking? That there was no way that was going to work out. And I look at it as I learned a lesson. Be like Little Richard would say, be honest.
Right. You should have just done better.
Right.
Be better. You should just be better. Be a better person. Oh my goodness. Look what the first lady said. Walmart only sold clean CDs, so I didn't shop there.
See, I should have phoned a friend. I should have talked to Sister Hawkins, and
right.
She could have clued me in.
Right, could have took you to the right store to begin with. Yeah. So you look back on it now, and what's different than when it was happening to you?
Well, I'm not in the moment now, so that's that's one thing.
Bless His holy name.
Amen. And I think another thing that is different for me is just the just realizing that it was a moment in time. That's not the entirety of my life story. When I tried to lie to my grandma and was getting called out by the cashier.
Mm, mm, mm. Mm, mm, mm. Yeah, man, I hear you. Um, but in the moment,
Yeah.
that's a whole nother story. So let's
Yeah.
talk about. Oh, wait a minute, we got one more
Yeah.
comment. Let's see what the other comment is. Uh, should have went to Leola's Records on Ames.
All version. Now I know where to keep the kids from going when they grow up.
Right, right.
I'm taking down notes now. They ain't getting away with nothing.
Boy, they are brutal, man. The membership is brutal today. What you go to Walmart for in the first place? I never would have went to Walmart. Dee Dee said, should have went to Leola's. We got another comment. Leola's, yes. If you want profanity in your music, go to Leola's.
Support Black-owned business.
No.
Hallelujah.
If you want to avoid embarrassment for the rest of your life, all you have to do is shop at Leola's. That will cure any embarrassing episode. Just go to Leola's the first time. You'll never have to worry about embarrassment for the rest of your life. Wow. Great comments, you guys. Thank you so much for joining in on the conversation. Y'all help the podcast be as great as it is. So the first thing we want to talk about is actually what is embarrassment. What is embarrassment? So I did a little research, and I at least want to take a stab at it, and hopefully, a good portion of my research came from a trusted source, which is Psychology Today. That's where I got a lot of my research. Not all of it, but that's where I got a good portion of it. Was from Psychology Today, and just I had to think through some things and allow the Lord to speak to me about what I heard, and all of that kind of comes to ahead on what I want to share. So here's what I think embarrassment is. Tell me what you think, Minister Sewell.
Okay.
It is a negative or awkward feeling that results from your public behavior. A negative or awkward feeling that comes as a result of your public behavior. Those are my thoughts
Okay.
about what is. I got some some scratchiness. Hopefully that's not coming through on the pod. Let's see if I can adjust my sound just a little bit. Okay, so first of all, it's a feeling, but before it shows up as a feeling, believe it or not, it actually, research tells us that embarrassment actually starts out in the brain.
Interesting.
And then it flows to our emotions, and embarrassment actually manifests itself in our bodies. So I said it's an awkward feeling, but in truth, it is multidimensional. Like we are associated with the feeling of embarrassment, and we might even be associated with how it impacts our bodies. But believe it or not, research tells us it starts in the brain. And something happens in our brain, and then that triggers um, our emotional response, how we think about, how we feel, and embarrassment actually shows up in our body. Do you remember how your body felt uh, when you were at the store when old girl
I
was doing
was,
you wrong?
yeah, I was trying to think of, you know, I think the fight or flight response kicked in.
Oh,
It's just
yeah,
I couldn't run anywhere,
yeah,
and
yeah,
I doggone sure couldn't fight. So,
yeah, yeah. Just
uh,
those commercials want to get away.
yes, exactly, exactly,
The
exactly.
classic, the classic. Yeah, so it starts in our brain, it impacts our feelings, and then it actually shows up in our body. So like embarrassment is like a all-encompassing event, believe it or not.
Yeah,
And
that's
it,
interesting.
it 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 really is. I would have thought it was just about feelings, but no, it's about our brain activity. It's about how those feelings trigger things in our body. Like we can experience our hearts beat faster. We can our palms can become sweaty. Um, our depending on your skin, you can become flush.
Mm, yep.
Some people turn bright red when they get embarrassed. All of
Yeah.
those body responses to embarrassment, it is way more than a feeling. It involves your brain, it involves your emotions, and it shows up in your body. A big old dose of adrenaline. You want to run, you want to hide. I felt like this big. I just wanted to shrink away
Right.
and all this kind of stuff. So embarrassment is a big deal. Yeah. So thoughts on the pod about embarrassment starts in the brain and then it goes through our emotions and it shows up in our bodies. If you're joining us on the pod, chime in, give us your comments on um, is that new to you? Did you know that it was a brain thing? Did you know there was a body thing or just a feeling thing? The other aspect of embarrassment is how it affects your brain, your feelings, and your how it flows through your body. But the other aspect that I really wanted to key on, Minister Sewell, is that it's not just behavior; it
Okay.
is public behavior.
Yeah, I noticed that when you're given the explanation.
Yeah, yeah. Um, Embarrassment is embarrassment. Oftentimes, I suppose you could be embarrassed without the public aspect, but oftentimes embarrassment is associated with public behavior. Yeah, Didi said she didn't know it was a brain thing. First Lady said she didn't know it was a brain thing. So yeah, do a little research. That was one of the things I picked up in psychology today is that there was another article that I was reading that talked about that as well. They actually named the part in the brain that's
Okay.
activated. So like they showed people singing karaoke and then they videotaped it and they watched it and they tracked their brain when they watched themselves singing karaoke and something happened in their brain and Dr. McKinley says, so what's happening to the brain? Like,
Mm,
I don't remember the specifics. It just stood out to me that it triggered a response in the brain, and that was the trigger to the emotions and the sweaty palms and the flushed skin and the rapid heart rate and all that kind of stuff are all triggered by the brain. because like our bodies just don't act on their own. There's always a response in our brain that triggers our bodies to do whatever it does. So that was interesting. And more times than not, there is a public dimension to embarrassment. I was at school hanging out with my buddy. You were at the store. Who knows how many people were around? Oftentimes, there is a public element, and that triggers the response of embarrassment. And so that's the first thing I wanted to share in terms of what it is. It's it starts in the brain. It impacts our feelings. It shows up in our bodies, and oftentimes it is in response to our public behavior. Interesting. So let's. I think we might have an extra comment. Didi says, "Oh, I can see that now." Yeah, Didi, we don't sweat unless our brain tells us to, and we don't. It's all connected to the brain, and then it flows at different parts in our body. So that was an interesting discovery about embarrassment, and so let's let's talk about what causes. Now that we know what it is, it's more than a feeling. It's a starts in our brain. It flows through our feelings. It shows up in our bodies. It's in response to public behavior. And let's take a step deeper and talk about what causes the embarrassment that comes as a result of public behavior. So when I think about my story, and Minister Sewell, when you think about your story, um, the commonalities have to do with um, behaviors that um, we deem to be not normal or negative.
Right.
And oftentimes those behaviors um, are not in line with what we deem to be socially acceptable standards of behavior. Um, Falling, um, not reading well in a classroom, belching, farting, like all of these types of things. People telling your business in public. Um, the thing they have in common is that those behaviors, if we could take them back, we would, because we think they don't fall in line with social standards. We think about that.
Yeah. When I think about all my embarrassing moments, yeah, it is an occasion where, yeah, I believe the standards weren't met for a public setting. Are the standard that I was trying to achieve publicly or meet publicly was not met.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Some people would describe it as a failure to behave according to social standards.
Yeah,
And when I was looking at that, I thought, wow, you know, wow, society really, if we're not careful, can hem us in pretty good, such that when we don't meet those standards, that may be the cause of embarrassment. When we feel as if we don't behave according to social standards, the likelihood for embarrassment, the potential for embarrassment is there.
Mm. And society sets those boundaries.
Yeah.
The people around you, it's just not really tied to anything good or bad. It's just what the majority of the people
Yes.
happen to feel about something.
Isn't that something?
Yeah, that's wild.
That is something. And so let's take it a step further, Minister Sewell. Um, when we don't behave according to social standards, the problem with that is that it can actually threaten the perception that other people may think of us differently or we may think of ourselves differently. And that's what makes embarrassment embarrassment.
Mm.
What are people going to say when they see me falling in public at high school? My friend, who was the opposite of compassionate, just laughed at me to nobody's business and wouldn't stop laughing. He probably still laughing right now. um, threatens our belief about how others evaluate us or how we evaluate ourselves. It is a threat.
Mm.
Embarrassment is a threat to a positive evaluation of self or from other people. I thought,
Good.
wow. Dr. McKinley says, caught in an awkward situation, position, etc. Others seem to find laughter in our embarrassment instead of a feeling of compassion. Yes. And
Mhm.
the threat of that can cause people to feel like they're going to think of me differently. I'm going to think less of myself. You know, and that's what causes the embarrassment, the failure to meet of social standards, and oftentimes it is not intended behavior. Like, I didn't intend to fall. You didn't intend for the lady to tell all your business. Um, Victor Russell didn't intend to miss the dunk in the high school basketball game. Um, they're often accidental things that don't meet a social standard, and whether or not it's real or not, the threat of it impacting how other people view us or how we view ourselves causes embarrassment.
You talking about it being a threat really hits home on how the body reacts. So the brain considers it a threat.
Mm.
Now your body is sweating, your heart is going faster because it's experienced a threat.
Right. It makes
Interesting.
perfect sense. That flight or fight syndrome, that adrenaline that kicks in your body when you're in a threatening position situation, your brain says, "Oh, they need adrenaline, and they need it now because this is a threatening situation." Embarrassment is a threatening situation. It doesn't threaten our physical safety, but it threatens our self-evaluation. Pretty deep stuff. There's a lot that's happening with embarrassment.
Yeah.
That until I started preparing for this lesson, I didn't realize so much was going on when it comes to embarrassment. So actually, we're going to actually go even deeper today and take a step further. What's the problem with embarrassment? What makes it such a big deal? And initially, I wasn't going to put this in the outline, but the more I thought about it, I was like, we need to, if we're going to help people, whether they be teens or whether they be adults, to respond, we've got to put it in a context, because one, embarrassing things are going to happen.
Right.
Right? The problem with embarrassment, the first problem is you can't avoid it. that's
Yeah.
that's the first problem with embarrassment. You cannot avoid embarrassment. You're gonna belch, you're gonna poot, you're gonna fall. Somebody's gonna say something about you that you can't control, that you don't like. It's going to happen. You cannot avoid failing to meet a social accepted standard of behavior. It's going to happen. We're not always going to live up to what society says is acceptable behavior. That's the first problem. You cannot avoid embarrassment. The second problem, potential problem with embarrassment, is how you deal with it can determine your trajectory. So for instance, oh, we got a comment here. What's the comment? I guess it's good for us to learn how to laugh at it. Yeah, we're actually going to get there. I'm gonna bring that comment back up when we get there. But I think you're exactly right. I
Yeah.
think you're exactly right. Like you can't avoid it, and the impact of embarrassment is determined by how you deal with it. For instance, if you deal with embarrassment effectively, you can shorten the length of the embarrassment, and you can survive the embarrassment intact. Even though you may not forget it, you can survive it if you deal with it properly. However, if not dealt with properly, guess what embarrassment can turn into? It can turn into shame. If we do not deal with embarrassment properly, embarrassment can cause us to think lower of ourselves as a result of our behavior. Embarrassment can be a gateway, a portal, an entry to shame. Instead of being short lived and come out with your own self evaluation intact, if you don't deal with it properly, it is a gateway to shame. And we talked about shame in our first two podcast episodes, the devastating impact of shame, because shame damages our relationship with God, our relationship with ourselves, and our relationship with other people. And if we do not deal with embarrassment properly, it'll lead to damaging our relationships with God, self, and other people, because we'll think of ourselves less and we'll experience shame. That's the problem with embarrassment. That if you can't avoid it, you got to deal with it. But if you don't deal with it correctly, it can open the door to something way worse. It can open the door to shame. Wow, that's pretty powerful. So learning how to respond to embarrassment is one of the most important skills a teenager can have, or even all of us for that matter. How we deal with embarrassment will lead us to shame or make the embarrassment short-lived.
Now, Pastor, I got to ask, when we talk about embarrassment potentially leading to shame based on, well, potentially leading to shame, is the shame based off of the reaction to the embarrassment, or is the shame based off of the event that triggered the embarrassment in the first place? Does that?
It Great question. It comes when we think that our value is tied to our performance, and that embarrassing moment um happens, but then we begin to think less of ourselves because it happened. We begin to talk less about ourselves and think that we're stupid, or think that we're an idiot, or those things that are the inappropriate responses to embarrassment could cause us to think less of ourselves because of an embarrassing moment. Does that make sense?
Yep, that makes sense.
Yeah. So it is a crucial skill that every human being needs to learn how to deal with embarrassment. You're going to do embarrassing stuff. The question is how you deal with it, because if you don't deal with it properly, then you could begin to think less of yourself because of it. And the moment you begin to think less of yourself is the moment shame begins to show up. And shame is a big old can of problem.
Well, also, I was wondering if so we talked about this fight or flight response, and
Hmm.
I can recall, we're kind of talking about bullying a few lessons ago,
Right.
and how sometimes when we get embarrassed, that response to fight becomes evident, and then we start either fighting. We engage in a conflict where we either fight, we get in trouble because of that, or God forbid, something worse where we actually engage in conflict because of our embarrassment. And what, in addition to the shame, there's also some actual punishment that is also dealt out by others.
Mm, mm. Yeah. And then to make it even worse, sometimes we punish our own selves.
Mm, yeah,
I think you're exactly correct. Didi says, try not to be too concerned with how others think or feel, which is difficult.
amen.
Yes,
Yeah.
sometimes that can be, very difficult. So we have so far um, we've talked about what is embarrassment. It starts it starts in our head. It involves our feelings. It flows through our bodies, and it's a response of most times public behavior. And what causes embarrassment is because that public behavior oftentimes doesn't meet social standards. It doesn't meet social standards, and because of that, it can threaten how uh, it has the potential. Well, it threatens how other people might perceive us. Whether they do or not is not the issue. The question is that it could, and it could threaten how we view ourselves, and that's what causes the embarrassment. The problem is we can't avoid embarrassment, um, and if we don't deal with it properly, it can turn into shame. Um, so the ultimate question is how to respond to embarrassment. This is the skill
Mm,
We've had the lesson portion. We understand what's going on and why it's going on and what makes it a big deal. But here's where the rubber meets the road. How how do we how to respond to embarrassment? So I want to give you Pastor Hawkins' 3-step process for responding to embarrassment. Pastor Hawkins' 3-step process of responding to embarrassment. Like here you go. Step number 1. Keep it in perspective. Keep it in perspective. Our brain will sometimes tell us that what we did in public was the worst thing in the world. Nobody's ever done it before. Nobody will ever do it again. And our brains will tell us that life as we know it
Yep.
is over.
It's a wrap. That's
You
it.
might as well find a rock and climb under it and live out the rest of your days, because what you just did was the worst. That's what our brains tell us. That's the message we get in our heads from within our own brains about embarrassment. Like we shine the spotlight on us and we make the spotlight so big, like it is the worst thing in the whole wide world. And we become the center of the universe when it comes to embarrassing moments. And so, step number 1, you got to keep it in perspective. Sometimes we just have to chill. Sometimes we just gotta
Just chill.
chill. We gotta chill. Keep it in perspective. So when I say keep it in perspective, I'm gonna try to define chill, because we gotta chill. Our brain is in overdrive, and we cannot always listen to what our head tells us. Because here's the truth: you are not the center of the universe. It's not the end of the world. You're not the only person to do something embarrassing. And there's a good chance it's not the most embarrassing thing you've already done. Chill.
Yeah.
Keep it in perspective. So let me go back to one of Dee Dee's comments. I guess it's good for us to learn how to laugh, and we need to learn how to laugh at ourselves. She also said, try not to be too concerned about how others think or feel. I know it's difficult. So even before the other people, Dee Dee, like we have to reprogram ourselves according to the truth of our embarrassing moments, because embarrassment, we just blow stuff up and drag stuff out. And we have to keep it in perspective. We got to chill. Just chill. It ain't all of that. Like we make stuff out to be huge, and it may not always be as huge as we make it out to be. I try to convince my students to get right back out there. Wanting to go home and hide
Yeah.
should not be an option. Your peers will bring it up again the next day. So get out there, keep your head up and smile, even if it hurts. Prove to yourself that you can overcome.
That's good.
That's a good strategy.
That's good.
That is a good strategy. And actually, that strategy probably more lines up with my second step in responding to embarrassment. So the first one is keep it in perspective. You're not the only one. You're not the center of the universe. It's probably not the most embarrassing thing happened, and you will survive. Keep it in perspective. That's a hard thing to do because your brain just blows it up, and you got to tell your brain, bring it back down. Like if embarrassment, if you were to rate your embarrassment on a scale from 1 to 10, like if you rated a 10, it might be a 6. or if you rated a 7, it really might be a 4. We tend, our brains tend to blow up our embarrassments. And we got to shrink it back down. We got to keep it in perspective. That's my first strategy on dealing with embarrassment. Keep it in perspective. And the second one, they all have to do with the letter P. So hopefully that'll be helpful. Keep it in perspective. Here's strategy number 2, Pastor Hawkins, 3-step process for responding to embarrassment. Put it in the past. That's where Dee Dee's strategy comes in perfectly. Put it in the past. Every embarrassing moment has already happened. It is not currently happening. And one of the best things you can do with your embarrassment is place it where it naturally belongs, which is in the past. What does that mean? That means quit rehearsing your embarrassment as if it's currently happening. Like it's already happened, and the truth of the matter is you've already survived because it's over. So let's go back to Dee Dee's comments. Get right back out there. Don't rehearse the bad stuff. Put it where it belongs. Your peers might have tried to make your embarrassment present, but they really can't because it's old news. That's yesterday's. Keep your head up and smile, even if it hurts. Here's why you can keep your head up and smile, Dee Dee, because it already happened and you already survived. It's already over and you're still here. Yeah. Step number 1, keep it in perspective. Step number 2, put it in the past. Thoughts on put it in the past?
Yeah, that's you can't change it, right? You can't undo it.
Yep.
So you'll continue to live it in your mind. It's not helpful. There is nothing beneficial that can come from that.
Yep. All you can do is keep it moving. Really, that's all you can. It happened. Dee Dee says, right, amen. I'm still here. I like that. I'll add that to your speech. Yeah, let me know, Dee Dee, if that's helpful when you're dealing with I think you're in middle school. When you're dealing with them, you're still here. It happened. It's in the past. That's yesterday's business. What's new today? We can't talk about yesterday forever. Let's talk about today. That's old. That's old news. I want some new news. The sooner you can put it in the past, the better off. You just keep it in perspective. It ain't the worst thing in the world. And as soon as possible, put it in the past. And the quicker it's in the past, the quicker it gets out of your present, the more you can avoid the negative consequences. Alma says, yes, indeed. Thank you for Alma. I didn't know you were joining us. Blessings be upon you. So, step number 3. First one. You remember the first one, Minister Sewell? I'm putting you on spot here.
Keep it in perspective.
There you go. Keep it in perspective. And the second one, of course, is put it in the past. Pastor Hawkins' third step, responding to embarrassment, is
Drum roll.
practice your true identity. So instead of rehearsing what happened, how about you rehearse who you really are? This will keep shame away because we're trying to stop at embarrassment and we're trying to not go into shame. That's the goal. Make the embarrassment short-lived and don't let it turn into shame. Like, that's the goal for embarrassment. You can't stop it from happening, but you can shorten its impact, and you can prevent it from turning into shame. Practice your true identity. What does that mean? That means you need to tell yourself what God says about you, not about this incident. Who are you for real? So that you don't begin to think less of yourself because of the embarrassing moment. Like, this is the most important thing, in my opinion. Everything else is designed to get you to this point to practice your true identity. Alma says, be yourself. Amen. Oh, that is amen to that. Be yourself. I'm with you. Perspective past and practice your true identity. Yeah. And what does God say about every human being? They are created in the image of God. They are fearfully and wonderfully made. That is the Christian and the sinner man. God says the same thing about us. So we need to practice our true identity so that we don't begin to think less of ourselves because of what happened. That's how we can maintain our value. That's how we can maintain our worth. That's how we can retain our identity and allow the embarrassing moment to be what it really is, just a moment. Like, embarrassing moments, here's the bonus. Matter of fact, I'm going to create a bonus. If I could create a bonus, here we go. Right in front of your eyes, you get a bonus. We'll call this a bonus step to responding to embarrassment. Here is the bonus.
All right.
Almost writing the bonus made me almost forget what the bonus is. Here it is. Let me type it in. Guess what? Embarrassing moments don't define who you are. God does. That's the bonus. Embarrassing moments don't define who you are. God defines who you are. I just feel that all up in my spirit. I'm going to say amen because that's good.
Amen.
That is good. Keep it in perspective. Put it in the past. Practice your true identity. Those are the 3 steps. And the bonus step, embarrassing moments don't define who you are. As a matter of fact, God does. And so when we remember that, then we can respond to our embarrassing moments. We can recover from our embarrassing moments. We can place them where they properly belong in our lives. It's just a moment. And we can separate an embarrassing moment from our worth, our identity, and our value. Yeah. That's the lesson for today. That's the podcast episode for today. And I wish somebody was in the halls of Northwest when I failed, pull me aside and tell me these things. It would have made a big difference. it would have made a big difference. Shoot, I might have been able to, sometimes we laugh to mask the pain, but I may have been able to really appreciate the moment for what it was. It was just an embarrassing moment. And like Dee Dee, so we can laugh, but we can laugh without the pain and not just laugh even if it hurts, if we respond correctly.
That's good.
Yeah. Sometimes we laugh to get it over with or to hide our embarrassment. But we can truly laugh and appreciate it for what it is. It's just an embarrassing moment. It's not who I am. It's not your character. And 9 times out of 10, it's probably not even your track record of your behavior. More times than not. I mean, I didn't fall every day walking down the hallways of Northwest High School. I mean, people wasn't telling your business about you lying to your grandma. I mean, you probably didn't lie to your grandma every day. It's not the track record of your performance, nor is it a reflection of your value. It's just a moment. That's all.
Amen.
When it's all said and done, it's just a moment.
Amen.
And we have those moments, and so yeah, that's what I wanted to share with you all on today about this whole matter of responding to embarrassment. So, Mr. So, you want to give us a sum up and tell the people we love them and care for them and how they can connect with us if they need to?
Yes. So, when we have those embarrassing moments, it's important to remember who God says you are. You were created in His image. You are fearfully and wonderfully made, and He loves you. And He loves you so much that He died for you. So, we encourage you that you accept that you will accept God's love for you, accept that He died for you. He loved you so much that He died for you, and embrace that, and join the family of God. So we encourage you to accept Jesus Christ as your Lord and Savior, and if you once you make that decision, please reach out to that email address that's displayed there, AntiochOmahaYouth@gmail.com. AntiochOmahaYouth@gmail.com. God loves you. We love you. If you need anything, if you have any questions, maybe you're having trouble getting over an embarrassing moment, you're feeling shame, reach out to us. We'd love to talk to you and talk you through those moments. We've been through them ourselves. We're not talking about talking from a textbook perspective. We have lived it over and over again.
Yes, and our story times are the proof of that.
Yes.
Yeah, that's the value of story time, so that we can let you all know that we're not just talking about what we read in a book or in a Bible. We're talking about real life experiences, and I try to always make story time about something that happened when I was a teen, so that you all would be able to relate. We all would be able to relate. So to all of our adults with us today, thank you so much for joining
Yes,
us. You
thank
all
you.
help
We
make the
love you.
podcast what it is. We love you all dearly, and thank you for not just joining in, but participating and engaging. All of your comments, we so appreciate them. They make such a difference And when other people have the opportunity to watch it on a replay, it makes so much difference to hear the engagement of other people. So we're excited about that. So we've talked about shame, we've talked about guilt, we've talked about embarrassment. There are two more in this list of things that we need to deal with, and they are fear and pride. So we got a couple more
Good
before
ones.
we wrap up this unit of painful points. So the trilogy, we hit the trilogy, which is shame and guilt and embarrassment, and so we're those major pain points that we all deal with. So we've got some more areas that we want to address. But if there's a particular topic that you'd like to share with us, also you can email us, Antioch Omaha Youth at gmail.com. And we are would love to hear from you. So I think we'll be talking about pride. I think we'll be talking about fear. And I think some of those will be some of our upcoming lessons. But feel free to send us in topics that are helpful. It seems to be helpful for adults just as much as teens, and helpful for other adults who work with teens. And so those are some great outcomes that we have discovered. So it is time for us to close, and you know what that means. Thank God for each and every one of you. My main man, Minister Sewell, blessings be upon you.
Bless you, Pastor.
Good luck to your Golden State Warriors, and they
Call the
have
Warriors
made
in
it.
6.
Warriors is 6. Warriors and Klay Thompson 6. And my last words to you all: there's nobody like my God.
Loves me and I love him. He loves me and I love him. Oh, there's nobody like my God. And he loves me. There's nobody like my God. Oh, Jesus is just that kind of friend. He'll stick with you till the end. Pick you up when you are down. He said he'll always be around. There's nobody like my God. Oh, there's nobody like Jesus. There's nobody like Jesus.